Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. Raymond Rivera, and I'm president of the Latino Pastoral Action Center, a Christ-centered holistic ministry involved with after-school programs, youth programs, alternative to incarceration, a network of charter schools servicing close to 2,000 children in the South Bronx, with international and national ministries in our country and around the world. Today we launched this podcast called the Nabi. Nabi in Hebrew means prophet, and we will be developing a prophetic pastoral network to deal with the individual and collective issues facing our people in our communities. Have you ever looked at people and asked why there's such a difference between their intentions and actions, between what they say and what they do? When you look at the world around you, do you ever wonder how much of it has gotten messed up? Families are failing, marriages are failing, kids are rebellious, more people are poor and needy, systems and structures are not responsive to the needs of its citizens. Also, have you ever noticed that the usual solutions that society presents, like getting a good education or a good salary, often don't do any good? People hone in their intelligence only to figure out new ways to cheat the system. People use their gifts and talents and wealth for their immediate families and friends, never noticing that some of their neighbors are starving or falling into physical, emotional, or chemical dependency. As you try to make some sense of why these things are happening, you may point to social problems like materialism or the breakdown of the family. You might blame politics, pointing to the corruption and scandals in which our public officials are constantly being implicated. Or perhaps it's the state of the economy, the growing gap between the rich and the poor. Then again, you may say it's cultural dynamics, all the biases and prejudices people have against each other. Or the problem is religion. It's the poor state of spirituality, or even corruption in religious institutions. And finally, you may believe that life is what it is, and we just have to deal with it. Or you may say, Pastor, I don't even have a clue to what's going on. Each of these reasons have elements of truth to it, but I sum up the totality of our human dilemmas in one word: captivity. Captivity is a state of separation from God and bondage to self, the result of our sinful nature. Too often we fail to understand God's plan for our lives, or we simply reject His call to be instruments of liberation and restoration for people. God speaks to us and calls us to His divine purpose, but we are alienated and in constant rebellion against God. This state of captivity keeps us from submitting to His will. During this podcast, I will be talking about how we live in a situation of captivity, how the fall, our rebellion against God, ushered in captivity and separated us from God, from each other, from our environment, and from our communities. I will be articulating a theology that responds to the needs of individuals, to our fallen nature as individuals, and to systemic corruption, and to systemic structures that also are fallen and are in alienation and in a state of rebellion against God. God has the solution. God has the answers for these problems. Tune in. My name is Reverend Dr. Raymond Rivera, and I'm the president of the Latino Pastoral Action Center. This is our new podcast, the Nabi, and we are about to develop a prophetic pastoral network. Tune in.